Welcome back to the Chasing Happiness podcast, an honest podcast about finding happiness, what it really means, and the process of getting there. My name is Crystal, and today I'm excited to have a conversation with Donna, a registered dietitian nutritionist who's helping people overcome chronic digestive issues. And for those of you who listen to this podcast, you know health has been really important over the last few years for me personally, as well as lots of other people who have been on this podcast. So we're going to talk to Donna about all kinds of things related to health and nutrition. But Donna, before we get into it, do you want to introduce yourself to the people who are listening?
Sure, I'd love to. So first of all, thanks for having me on here. I'm really excited to talk to you about your topic here, about chasing happiness, about happiness in life. And yeah, definitely, you're right that gut health does impact happiness and our moods in a great way. So I have a background in computer science. I did that for a while. And then I went back to school and got a degree in nutrition. And I've been doing that for the past 25 years or so. Recent pivot in the last 4 or 5 years on gut health because I had an issue myself, which we can go into later. But so that's what I'm doing right now is I am focusing on gut health and helping people conquer that and solve their problems.
Which I absolutely love. And gut health, before we started recording, gut health was something we touched a little bit on because the research is showing in the last few years that there are so many things that we did not understand about how the gut connects to our overall body in other ways than just obviously the nutrition of what you're putting in your body. So gut health actually really has a lot to do with our mental health. It has to do with how our body physically is functioning. So you said, you started down this path because you went through a personal experience. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I've been a nutritionist for, like I said, 20 something years, and just was kind of focusing on helping people with general, typically what people wanted was weight loss advice and that type of thing, which was great. I love doing that. I started out my career in, a technical field and did that for a while and didn't find the love there because it was just a lot of working by myself and, I don't know. I just wasn't so in love with the whole computer science thing. So I am passionate about nutrition. I read everything that I can. I absolutely love it. Definitely the place where I should be right now. But the whole gut health thing. So a couple of years ago, I guess it's probably been about 5 now, I was having a problem with bleeding gums and tried everything that I could. My dentist said, we've tried everything. There's nothing else for you to do. We want you to take these antibiotics. So there were 2 different ones that I took at the same time. And about day 5, I was like, something is terribly wrong. I stopped taking them, but it was already at the point where it was just like, probably like drinking bleach. It just annihilated my gut. And so What happened after that, I know. So what happened was whenever that happens, I now know a lot more about it, but it just decreases the good bacteria as well as the bad. And so then what you're left with is these opportunistic bacteria that just are like throwing this great party in your gut, overgrowing and causing problems. So that's what happened to me. And I ended up with all these symptoms. I could go into things that you just would not even believe. And so I was trying to solve my own things. And I'm like, hey, I'm a nutritionist. I should be able to figure this out. Like it's just whatever I'm eating and, this environment that I've created here. So through the process of healing myself, I have developed a protocol really and have learned so much about it. I'm still learning about it that can really narrow down exactly what's going on in that gut and treat the specific issues there and not just swallow a bunch of random probiotics. So it's been one of those things that I was like, I didn't really want this to happen to me, but I'm kind of glad that it did now because the people that I'm able to impact going forward, I mean, my gut's fine now, so I'm all good. And the people that I'm able to impact going forward, it's amazing to me. I am living an amazing life because of, this thing that happened to me that I was like, but anyway, not super fun to go through it. I was divorced and dating at the time when all of this was going on. It's not really something super fun to have to try and explain to someone, oh, excuse me, I know I'm eating this dinner right now, but I'm going to have to run to the bathroom.
Right. Well, and this is the
Yeah,
thing, right? We live in this world right now, especially where if you have a symptom of any kind, it's sort of like the very first thing is what pill can we give you to get rid of the symptom rather than
exactly.
looking for the
Exactly.
cause?
Right. Right. No, that's typically the Western medicine way. And I mean, there's a whole host of things going on there that leads to that. They have, what is it, 6 minutes to deal with every patient. And,
Right.
it's just not, you can't help someone with 6 minutes of time dedicated to them. And so I prefer a more holistic approach. I want to get to the root cause of the problem and not just mask the symptoms. And I end up with a lot of clients that come from their GI docs and they're just like, okay, well, they put me on, this medication or proton pump inhibitor or whatever. I don't want to take this medication. What do I do? How do I actually solve this problem? So that's where I come in.
I love this. And I love that you're helping people in this way because as I get older, I pay more and more attention to my overall health. And because all of this research has started to come out about gut health, and we're starting to understand a little bit more about how it impacts every area of our lives, I've started to, in my own personal life, make small changes like drinking less coffee, consuming less sugar, small things that don't necessarily lead to a big change, but overall are making me feel better. So I wonder, based on your experience and everything that you know, is there a suggestion you would have for everybody who's listening? Maybe they've never even thought about their gut health. One small thing they could do to start to incorporate or start to take something out that might actually help improve them overall.
Yes, yes. I scream it from the rooftops regularly on Instagram. Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head with reducing sugar. That's a big disruptor and impactor in our gut health lining, and in our gut health, our stomach lining rather, and intestinal lining. The mucosal barrier is just greatly affected by sugar. It's just very inflammatory. So that's a huge one. If you can reduce that, you will notice a big impact. And the other thing is fiber. Most people are not getting enough fiber, even people that eat a ton of vegetables. It's hard to get. The recommended amount is 25 to 30-ish grams or so. And if you log what you eat in a day, and I do this periodically because I just want to sort of check in. I'm like, oh, I only hit 17 today.
Sure.
25 grams of fiber is hard to get without a supplement. And so the thing about fiber is fiber feeds your good gut bacteria, and you want those guys to stay strong and robust. You want them to be able to fight off whatever comes in. And that can be, some contamination in your food. That can be environmental toxins. That can be all sorts of things, even if it's just a food that's not contaminated that your body doesn't process well, like with a lot of people, that's gluten. It can just cause an inflammatory situation there. And you want your good bacteria to be, muscle bound, jacked, ready to take on whatever.
Right.
And fiber's going to help with that because it's going to feed those good gut bugs.
That's amazing advice, especially because I think for me personally, I have always heard, cut back on sugar, drink less coffee, drink more water, but nobody is talking about that fiber aspect of anything. And if that's the thing that's actually feeding the good growth, the good bacteria, that really is something we should be focusing more on.
Absolutely. That's my number one recommendation for my clients, fiber supplement recommendation in their protocol, because it's so crucial. And even if you're eating a lot of vegetables, you're probably still not getting enough.
That's huge. So thank you for that piece of advice.
Sure. Happy to help.
I wonder for everyone who's listening, because I think obviously, depending on the age category you're in, you look at your overall health really differently in your 20s than you do in your 40s, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So I wonder if there are things we should all be sort of, regardless of age, thinking about, obviously consuming more fiber, cutting out the sugar. But are there things at certain stages of our lives that maybe we need to take more into consideration to increase that overall health and well-being?
Well, fiber is a lifelong thing. the thing about being young and, this, you can get away with a whole lot more when you're in your 20s than you can when you're in your 40s or later. You can, have a drinking binge, or you can do whatever, and you just
Sure.
pop up the next morning. Now, if I do that, which I don't do that because I'm like dead for a week,
Right.
it's just you respond so differently to inflammation and to things like that as you get older. And part of it is because, think about your body. We're regenerating cells all the time. So we basically have access to a new body on a regular basis. But we've got maybe chronic inflammation or chronic diseases or chronic things that by the time you're in your 40s and 50s or 60s or later, that you've just got this history of things going on. And it's like, your body is already in a state of heightened awareness. And so then something comes in, whatever it is, some bacteria or toxin of some sort. And it's just like, okay, we're already on high alert. Now it's like, So I think, younger people are not so attuned to their body, for one thing, and they're not so concerned about I need to get my fiber for today.
Right.
My kids I have two boys that are 21 and 23, and they could care less about, all they want to do. They're both weightlifters, and all they want to do is get their calories in. They don't care about what form that is. So I think the same things apply for young people as they do for us older people. But they just, so fiber is important. Water is important. I mean, of course, watch the alcohol. That applies to all of us, especially the younger college students or kids that are young adults that are binge drinking. Sugar is another one. So yeah, there's not really any specific information that's different for them. They can just get away with more than we can.
So 100%. I have to I can remember, it's funny you're talking about this binge drinking, and I can remember being young and just, night after night going out, and there's no way in my 40s that I could do the same kind of thing, regardless of circumstance. Your body just says no.
You would be annihilated. You would just be, yeah, I know. It's just crazy though, isn't it?
The body is an amazing thing. And that's part of the reason why I love this conversation. So for people who are listening to this podcast and they're starting now to think about their gut health, because that does impact other areas of their life, how is the best way for them to get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you to work with you, ask you questions, or just follow you?
I have an Instagram at EverVital Nutrition. I'm on Facebook as well at EverVital Nutrition. I have a page there. I've got a website, evervitalnutrition.com, and all my contact information is on there. So any of those methods will work for somebody to contact me.
Perfect. And for everyone listening, I, of course, as always, will put in the show notes all the links to the social media, to the website, to all the fun stuff so you can get in touch with Donna. Now, awesome. Donna, I typically ask people who come on the podcast a couple of questions before I let them go. Are you game to answer a couple of questions?
Of course. Yes, for sure.
Perfect. So the first question is, if you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh. I think that I would tell myself to friggin' listen to what my inner self is saying. I've ignored myself a couple of times during my life, and I just need to listen to myself. It just, we get such cues that we either listen or we don't listen, but we're masters at ignoring what our gut's telling us to do. Like gut feeling.
Right.
And so that's what I would just like to listen to myself. And just to say, I haven't taken wrong turns in my life. I was married for 28 years and right out of college, got a degree in something that I then went back and, sort of refined what I wanted to do in my life. My marriage wasn't terrible, but I just got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person that is all right. I have a really easy life. I don't have to work unless I want to, and I'm everything is taken care of. I don't have stress. I don't have fears. I don't have anything, but I'm unfulfilled. And my initial young adult memory of myself is stand on your own 2 feet, do the things that you want to do, like focus on the things that I want to do. And I let that go for so long. And I just wish that I would have listened to myself. And going forward, like, I don't know, I got divorced and I did some work on myself, figuring out kind of reconnecting with that voice, with that ability to hear what I want, what I need. And I think that going forward, I'm going to hopefully do a better job of that. But that's what I would tell myself. Listen to your damn self. Yeah.
It's so important. It's funny because I ask this question of everyone who comes on the podcast, and in some way, shape, or form, there is always an answer that's, I wish I had listened to my gut, or I wish I had listened to that instinct that I had sooner.
Yeah.
And it's all about, especially I think as women, we live in this world where we're told to trust everything outside of ourselves before we trust ourselves.
Yes.
And it's such a battle for us.
It really is. That's a great point. And you know what? I mean, we're, especially as women, supposed to do these certain things in life. Like these things will determine whether you are successful or not. And that's, get a college degree. Okay, I did that. Get married. Okay, I did that. Have a couple of kids. Okay, do that. And like you've reached the pillar of success if you don't have to work, if you can just, do whatever you want.
Right.
Well, for me, that wasn't fulfilling. That didn't drive my happiness. It didn't create the joy out of my life that I wanted. And probably a lot of people would be like, "You're dumb." But I just, was like, okay, I need to make a change here. So leaving that, that's a terrifying decision to make. Leaving a secure, comfortable situation to think, okay, well, what the hell am I going to do now? How am I going to do this? I'm on my own, especially for someone that's been married long term. It's like, okay, now I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Okay, this is what you wanted. Now it's like, well, oh crap. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Oh no, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. So it's just like, I think that you're right. That, you get this, as women, these ideas of what your life is supposed to be like. And no, you just have to listen to what do you want to do.
Right. Such a big thing. Thank you for answering that, because I think a lot of people who are listening can relate to that. And I think a lot of people will take something away from that. So the next question is, what inspires you?
Ooh, what inspires me? Well, I'd have to say probably, at this point in my life, what inspires me is, like I just said, kind of focused on doing things for other people, my kids and my family. And now I'm more focused on listening to myself and really helping people. There are so many people that are struggling with gut issues that they have normalized. These are the people that say, oh, well, it's just normal for me to only poop once a month, or it's just normal for me to, go to the bathroom after I eat every time, or something like that. And I'm just like, no. That might be normal for you, but that's not good gut health. And so let's see, what can we do to fix that, to make your life better? And that's really what the key is for me. Like, I work a lot of hours and I love every single minute of it, because I am able to do, to make a change in somebody else's life like that.
That's huge. I love that. That's amazing. So the last question is, what does happiness mean to you?
Ooh, I love happiness. Happiness is me being connected to my inner self, is me following those impulses. So what I'm doing right now, I am in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I do not live here. I am taking 4 months with the man of my dreams, the guy that I am traveling with, my boyfriend. And we are traveling all over the Western United States, working remotely and experiencing life in all these different places. And so right now I'm in the mountains and kind of in the city. And I have been already in Terlingua, Texas, in the middle of the desert where there's nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And then, yeah, so we're just traveling around, and happiness is enjoying every single day. It's the small things. I'm still working, but I'm working from a different location with a beautiful view, and I appreciate everything that I see. It's just incredible. So, that's what it is for me. Happiness is the appreciation and the connection to yourself and acting on those impulses that you have. Hey, you want to go work remotely for 4 months? Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I absolutely love this. And you know what? I know we've had a few technical difficulties today. I am totally willing to have the technical difficulties because I'm totally jealous that you're just traveling and doing your thing. And I absolutely love that. I think embracing those moments and actually, doing what feels genuine and right to you. I think that's something more of us should be doing as much as we possibly can. So congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining me today, especially in the middle of your wonderful travels. I think this conversation will definitely be beneficial to people. Is there anything else you want to mention to the Chasing Happiness community before I let you go today?
I don't think I have anything else to say. Oh, just, follow your heart. That's what it is. It's all about.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone listening. Of course, again, I will post in the show notes all of the links so that you can get in touch. You can follow Donna. You can see where she is on her magical journey, as well as start working with her if you're looking to improve your gut health as well. I appreciate that you guys come back and listen to the podcast week after week. If you found this conversation helpful, or you know someone who might find it helpful, please feel free to share it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. We will chat with you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.